Hey, I thought it was time to do another collection tour update. I don't think I've done this for, 2 or 3 years. So I figure it's time for a new one. I actually started updating my display in December around Christmas time, and it's now September, and I just kind of finished what I had originally started planning in December, which was I wanted to rotate a bunch of figures out and I wanted to kind of redo the overall kind of layout or composition of the display kind of in whole. So what I wanted to do is in these IKEA detolfs that I customized, which are also on these risers. What I wanted to do is I've been building dioramas lately. So I kind of wanted the display right here in the middle to focus on the dioramas I built. And so that took me up until recently to build those. And then have some kind of white or really light gray displays, some red ones, and then everything kind of outlined with these black backdrops. So that was kind of my goal. I started back in December and I figured, I'll take a couple weeks off at Christmas time and get this done. And here we are 9 months later and it's finally done. But, this is a passion of mine, a big hobby of mine. And I just like to work on things when I'm having fun. So if I'm building a diorama or putting together one of these modern military guys or trying to get a stormtrooper to position the way I want to, and if I hit some sort of frustrating point, I just stop because I just want to have fun. And so things sometimes take a little longer than what I thought. And also just kind of want to apologize in advance. Some of these lower shelves are a little hard to see in the video just because we are in my man cave and the seats kind of take up space. This is where we watch movies and play video games and stuff as a family. So let me just go ahead and get a little closer. I do have all the doors open to hopefully avoid glare as we're shooting this video. So this first one is Logan. I love that movie. This is from, I believe, a company called One Toys. And he came with two cool outfits. One's kind of the suit he was wearing, and another one is this more casual clothes that are all bloody and stuff. So I actually bought an extra body so I could display both. And with that, I also bought this really cool head sculpt by, I believe the artist who created that's name is 11. And that is an amazing head sculpt, one of my favorites. Even the little teeth are articulated. So if you want to stick like a cigar or something in there, you can. But love this dynamic pose, like he's going to bounce down on someone after a big fight and he's all bloody and ready to cut him up. Here we have Neo from The Matrix. I had just recently kind of binge watched all those movies, and I'm kind of a nerd. And when I do that, if I have a figure, I usually like to have them out, and I get inspired while watching the movies and come up with the poses and stuff. This one is really cool. I actually wanted the arm over here pose kind of more going straight like that, like maybe someone was behind him, but something was weird with his shoulder and I couldn't get it to naturally bend straight out like I wanted. And I kind of didn't feel like taking the trench coat and shirt off to try to fix it just yet. So I posted it like that, which I like. It's pretty cool. He's loaded with guns, which is awesome. Down here is a military figure that I had kind of somewhat kit bashed. It's a majority of it, 90% of it's from Easy and Simple, which is slowly becoming one of my favorite manufacturers. My favorite's Hot Toys, of course. I really like Damn Toys. Probably tied with them is Easy and Simple, and then there's others like Soldier Story and some other stuff that I like. But what I changed on him was the head sculpt, and I put the long sleeve gray shirt on just to help hide some of the the joints and the elbows and stuff. I'm not a fan of joints. And I put that suitcase in his hand and kind of, I had took some photos of this and put a little Marvel Shield logo on the suitcase, kind of like maybe he has some intel and he's taken it to the the agents of Shield or something like that. But kind of all my displays, I think most of us collectors do this, like to tell a little story with how their figures are set up. It's one of the reasons why I love this. Even when I was a little kid and setting up scenes and stuff with my little 3 and a 3/4 inch Star Wars and GI Joe figures and stuff, and telling stories. And then he's kind of like propped up on just a old tree stump that I actually got from a pet store. That's a piece of from like an aquarium. There's a little tomahawk stuck in it, and I just used that little white kind of poster tack putty stuff because it's not permanent, and you can stick stuff to it and easily just kind of remove it. I also use that stuff a lot, like on the weapons to. Sorry, here, trying to get past the doors. To keep things like the optics and the flashlights and lasers and stuff. Sometimes they get a little slippery on the rails, and that stuff works great, and you could clean it right off as well. And then down here, sorry, a little hard to see, but that is Tom Cruise from Mission Impossible. Again, just like The Matrix, I had kind of binge watched all those movies and broke out my Agent Hunter, as he's called, figure. Super cool. It's made by a company called Virtual Toys. They have a bunch of awesome figures as well. This is probably my favorite pose that I have going on right now. I've been waiting, I think it was 830 days since I pre-ordered young Han Solo, from the moment I pre-ordered to when I actually got him. So that's pretty crazy, 2.5 years, but I finally got him, and I wanted to do a buddy pose. So who better than to do a buddy pose than Han Solo and Chewie? The Chewbacca's from the Han Chewie Force Awakens box set. Hot Toys never actually released the Chewie from Solo, which is too bad. I'd love to have that one too, but I thought this is good enough. It's inspired by one of Hot Toys promotional photos for Han Solo, but I kind of put my own spin on it and wanted Han to kind of do that famous kind of Han shrug that he does, and also that Kylo Ren did towards the end of The Rise of Skywalker when he's facing off with the Knights of Ren. I love that moment. But yeah, that's one of my favorite poses right now. And then speaking of Star Wars, here's some more. So Rey and Kylo Ren. I love the lightsaber. Oh, sorry, that's my dog in the background, which probably means my daughter is just getting home from work. Sorry about that. So I love the scene in The Last Jedi in Snoke's throne room where they have that lightsaber fight. It's one of my favorites in all of Star Wars. I'm a big Star Wars nerd. So this was just inspired by that. I put this together, and one of the things I wanted to do is have Rey almost like she's protecting Kylo. She's got his back, and to kind of show their bond. And in addition to that, I wanted their lightsabers kind of positioned in parallel to kind of show how they are kind of moving in similar directions. And of course, at the end of The Rise of Skywalker, they come together and stuff. So I was getting a little symbolic with my storytelling there. Going down to Black Panther, I did have this in a more dynamic pose with his leg up on the debris and his claws out and his helmet on. But once we got the upsetting news about Chadwick passing, I wanted to update it to more of kind of a museum or kind of hero pose with the Chadwick head sculpt for now. And so I I had put that together. All the debris here I made. It's from pink insulation foam that I kind of sculpted and painted, and little wire rebarb and stuff. I will actually show the diorama a little later that's leftover pieces from. And then down here is Predator. And so this is one of the really old Predators back when Hot Toys were releasing them. I think they were called 6-scale model kits. You actually had to go in and put the arms and legs on, put that netting over the body, which is a big pain, and try to get the head on, which was also a big pain in the butt. You have to get out a hair dryer and kind of heat up the plastic so it loosens it a little bit. I actually accidentally broke the neck peg doing that. So that was kind of upsetting, but I was able to fix it and got him on display. Super cool. I love the Predator designs. I got a bunch of these. I'd love to have even more. And then down here at the bottom, also got that at the pet store. It's an aquarium piece that his foot's kind of up on. Shuriken is stuck in it. Again, using that poster tack stuff, and got some skulls and bloody skeleton and stuff. All right, now here is kind of the centerpiece as far as the display goes. These are the dioramas I made. This is the second one I made. It was originally designed for a sniper and spotter, which I've kind of rotated out, and they're actually on a different shelf. I wanted to put this guy in. I was inspired by, I think it was Fallout 3, had some promo art that had the shot of the character that you play, and I think his dog. And it was a shot from the back, and I think they were overlooking a vista or something. I can't remember for sure, but these modern military figures, the back of them, all their gear and stuff is just so detailed and hardly gets noticed because they're always, facing forward. So I kind of wanted to showcase that with this dude. He's got he's got a shotgun in his hand. On this side, some little gloves with some skulls or bones, skeleton bones. Kind of like maybe he just finished a battle or something. And then here, like the back of his helmet's got the cool Punisher skull that you normally wouldn't see, so I purposely wanted to show that off. So have that kind of tethered to his back. Added that cool knife because I really love it when figures have knives. And then as far as the diorama goes, again, created all this. All these little rocks are movable. And then the backdrop's just something I got off the internet and modify it to my liking and try to match the color scheme and the theme of the diorama. And then I just print it, like at Walmart or something, somewhat professional printing, and then spray mount that on mat board. This diorama, I was wanting to do something outdoors, but more kind of like an urban outdoor, but not urban like like an alleyway or something like that we'd see with Spider-Man. I mean, that stuff's cool, but I wanted to do something a little different. So I was actually at Home Depot looking for diorama supplies, and just the outside of their store just caught my eye, and that's perfect what I want. So I took a bunch of pictures and stuff and used that as reference and built this diorama. And I kind of wanted it like two survivors, maybe scavenging and just trying to survive, and taking a break to reflect, to plan, and to rest. And so this first guy is from Easy and Simple. I haven't really modified anything on him. He's just got some of his gear. He's just taking a little break. He's got his chest rig, that cool tomahawk. Then he's got his assault rifle. And then this other guy is also Easy and Simple. I did do some minor modifications to him. He had a man bun, which is fine. I didn't really want a man bun in this particular scene, so I didn't put that on, but he had a little hole in his head. And so I put the stocking cap on. And then that green shirt I put on, which, believe it or not, was the most difficult part of this entire thing, because it's so tight and it was messing with his articulation. but I wanted to hide those elbow joints. I also created some little wristbands to help hide the wrist peg joints as well. I actually broke his arm trying to get that green shirt on, and the sleeves rolled up, but I was able to fix it. Um, and I swapped out his pants. And then he has this really cool saw, uh, light machine gun with a cool Punisher ammo mag, I think 100 rounds. And then in his hand, he's got a personal defense weapon. And so kind of my thought here was I wanted him um, kind of relaxing, but still a little bit on alert while his friend over here is planning out their next move. Originally, I wanted the guy leaning against the wall to have the saw in his hand, the LMG, but because the green shirt was kind of messing with the articulation, it's really hard to get it in his hand. Um, but the diorama was super fun to create. You can even see like little rust stains and stuff I put down, little kind of dents in the concrete. And then the wall in the background has a bunch of stains and stuff like that. The little biohazard sign actually was a cover up to somewhere that I messed up. Ended up working out pretty good. The little curb behind his feet there has like maybe something came down and hit the wall and caused that big dark mark and chipped out some of the concrete and the curb. And you can see some little rebarb and stuff there. There's a little trash and stuff laying around. Oh, and the palette. That was a lot of fun. So I bought the palette and it came all nice and clean. I went in, dirtied it up, and I took a little 6 scale boot and put an old boot and put some paint on it and kind of stepped on the palette to give it kind of a more realistic, dirty, weathered look to it. Going down here, this is my latest diorama. And so what brought this one on is I wanted to build like an armory or bunker. And kind of the story I'm telling here is anybody could have their own story, but for me, there's this kind of lone survivor. And he's also easy and simple figure, which actually I think's named Lone Survivor. And he's prepping. And maybe the story is he's looking for someone or something. That's what all the notes and maps are on the table and on the wall. And he's prepping up, and maybe he found some military gear to kind of help in his search. And so I kind of put all this together. It's my latest. The pipes in the background is from I built a straw kit for kids, and I just kind of used that and painted them. And the little notes and stickies on the wall and the stuff on the table, I made and printed all those things. And then down there in the corner, I had the pipes like they were leaky, and I wanted a rag and some tools, like he's been working on that. That rag was a little piece of white from my daughter's shirt that she outgrew. Sorry, the dog's barking again. And I put that together. There's a little wire in it to give it the shape, and I used Elmer's glue and paint and stuff to kind of give it more of a natural shape. And the floor here's got more stains and scratches and stuff. Pretty cool. And then finally, this is the very first diorama I created, and this is Captain America from Infinity War. And this diorama, I learned so much. Like spray paint eats right through the pink insulation foam that I use, which in this case worked okay for the rocks and the rubble. But it was a lot of fun to make. Something I want to call out is on all these dioramas, as you can see right here, I make a custom matching figure stand to go with it, so I don't have to use those black ones or clear ones or whatever. But I make custom stands for my dioramas. So here's a kind of floor texture with a matching stand base. Didn't need one for those guys. And here is kind of a desert theme, and you can see the kind of the crotch grabber They're behind him, kind of reversed, holding him up. Over here, we got Captain Marvel. I just put her in last night. I like the pose. We'll see if I keep it or not. Or I'll keep the figure, but see if we'll keep the pose or not. I'll change them around and stuff a few times, so I'm super happy. But this one's pretty cool. I worry about posing her, pushing it too far and damaging the suit and stuff. But for now, I kind of like the portrait shot and kind of that angle. Here we got some First Order Stormtroopers and a Flame Trooper. Normally, I kind of don't like the effects that Hot Toys been doing, but man, this flame on the Flame Troopers flamethrower is really cool. So really happy with that. Those little guys are tricky to get articulated just right too. And down here, we got Director Krennic, which I was super happy and surprised they made this figure. So happy about that, and I purposely wanted to keep him on the white background, so by kind of reserving that spot for about a year. It's actually not really a white background. It's more like maybe a 15-20% gray. Down here, I have the Sniper and Spotter. These are both from Easy and Simple. I didn't really make any modifications. These are out-of-the-box figures. They were originally in that one diorama, that kind of deserty one. Those guys are super cool. Tons of detail. Finally, my last shelf. And we got Hawkeye. I really wanted a dynamic pose with him, and so kind of very similar to really at the opposite end with Logan. Kind of wanted to use a dynamic stand, him up in the air, kind of shooting his bow down on some enemies. Here we have Alien. This is one of the first Hot Toys I got. I've been collecting Hot Toys for probably 10-15 years. Love the Alien. I don't think he's ever really left my display. If he did, it wasn't for that long, but I do rotate figures in and out. Very fortunate and blessed to have more figures than I do space. So I rotate them out, and that's a lot of fun. But love the Alien design. Then here, this is kind of a work in progress. So this is a military dude that I'm in process of building out. And so usually I build these scenes out just on the weekends and limited in time. And so I do them on the kitchen table. And once the weekend kind of ends, I need to put them up, and then I'll pick them back up the next weekend. And so they just kind of go in this space while they're being built. But actually, I kind of have some plans for this space, probably using some of these props and stuff to stage something, a new diorama that I'm thinking about. And so we'll update it at some point with that. And finally, Captain Phasma. Love this character. Would love to see even more of her in the movies. I think she's a little underutilized, but happy she was in the first two. Would love to know more and see more about her, but am thankful they at least released the novel with her backstory and her culture and where she came from and how she got that cool armor. So thankful they released that. Let me just take a step back and look at all this again from a slightly different angle. And so this is my display as of September 2020. I try to keep a variety of figures, not just all Star Wars or Marvel or other things. I try to keep it balanced between the themes I'm really happy that I love. So Star Wars, Marvel, pretty equal balance there, along with military figures, and then the occasional other figures like Predator and Alien or Mission Impossible and things like that. Anyway, that is my collection. I love it. I really enjoyed making this video, and I hope you guys like it. Thanks for watching.